Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Another one of my encounters of the species Caranpithecus entitled Day. After that, Karen wants my trolley. And after that, I don't work for this airport. And then we'll be wrapping up with, can I get cash back? If you do not want to run into a Karen today, please let me know by smashing that like button. And if you're new, please subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Another one of my encounters of the species Caranpithecus entitled Day. So this happened last week, and I thought people would enjoy reading this. I was at a Starbucks with my 1-year-old son. We were waiting for my partner to finish work. This particular branch was located at a mall, so it was guaranteed to be crowded. So I end up having to sit down on the tables on the outside part of the place, which was near the walking area of the inside of the mall. My partner wouldn't arrive until an hour and a half, and I had time before we went out to dinner, so I ordered an iced coffee and a pastry while we waited. I sit my son down on his stroller and let him watch cartoon videos and go get my order. Near my table there were these preachers. People who had these huge signs with religious subjects on them, and one of them had a microphone that they used to shout Bible verses at the people walking by, while the others are trying to hand out pamphlets to anybody that walks past them. I could easily hear the woman who was preaching, her voice amplified by her mic, and she was talking about the apocalypse and the rapture, and how people need to reject sin and accept God into their lives. I don't mind nut jobs like them, as I understand freedom of religion, but I don't like when they persist to preach to me after I tell them no. At first, I do my best to ignore them, and it seemed to work. I put on one earpiece of my earphones and watched some reruns of Game of Thrones. My son was still engrossed in his watching of Peppa Pig, although I already gave him his bottle, and he is sipping on it whilst watching. I was maybe about 20 minutes in the episode I was watching when I see from my peripheral that someone was walking towards me. Alas, peace wasn't destined to me by the old gods and knew. I hear this boy ask me if I had a few minutes to talk to him. I know he's part of the preaching group because he was wearing similar clothes to them. They were wearing formal attire that made them stick out in the sea of mall goers who mostly wore casual. And he was carrying a stack of pamphlets. I tell him sorry, but I don't want to hear about his preaching, and if he can kindly leave me alone. He was insisting I listen, but I just tell him no, and proceed to ignore further conversation by plugging back in the earpiece I took out when I answered him at first, and go back to watching. He leaves me alone, and I happily go back to watching. That should have been where it ended, but I wouldn't be here if it was. I hear a woman speak at me, and when I turn, it's the preacher with the mic. She wasn't holding a mic anymore, and instead, another member of her group was holding it and was now preaching. I take off my earphones and ask her what she wants. This is how it went down. Original conversation happened in my local language, and I am translating. Our cast. We've got entitled Mom, Caranpithecus. We've got OP, me. And we've got Starbucks manager. We've got older man, also a customer. We've got my dad. Entitled Mom. Excuse me, miss. Can I help you? My son told me that you were rude to him. Excuse me? I don't even know who your son is. My son. The teenager talking to you earlier. Oh, that. I wasn't rude, miss. I just told him I wasn't interested in what he had to say. He was insisting that I needed to hear what he had to say, and when I told him no a second time and then he wouldn't budge, I ignored him. That's not a way to treat people older than you. That's rude. My son is off to college, so he's older than you are, and you have to respect him. Look, ma'am, I don't have to do anything for your son or you. If he is off to college, then that still doesn't make me younger than your son. I'm in my early 20s. I look younger than I actually am, and it doesn't help when I am only 5 feet in height. What? You're lying. You don't look like you're in your early 20s. You look 15. Well, it says in my passport, birth certificates, and other legal forms of identification that I am in my early 20s. Then they must be forged. You're a teenager. I was wearing a thin strap crop top and jeans at the time, but had worn a denim jacket to cover up since it was cold. I also should point out that I have a small tattoo on my right rib that was visible when I wear clothes like that. I simply took off my jacket to show her my ink to prove I was not 15. That was a mistake because it made it worse. See that? Pointing to my tattoo. No saying tattoo artist would tattoo a 15-year-old. Also, that is illegal and punishable by the law. Risking both their business and freedom isn't worth tattooing a kid for a fee. I'm not 15. Please leave me alone. No, you're lying. Where are your parents? Shame on them for letting their daughter defile her own body with Satan's mark. My tattoo was a face of a compass. Okay, lady, you're just crazy. It was funny at first, but now it's just annoying. Leave me alone. Not until I get to talk to your parents. They let their own child live in sin. That is unacceptable. Me being smart. Sure thing. They're in Texas right now. Although the time zones differ, you can try talking to them. I'm sure my dad would just love talking to a random crazy lady about how he is failing as a parent at 5 a.m. I pull out my phone and start to FaceTime my dad, and he actually picks up. Cue my dad drinking his usual drink of black coffee and answering my call. Dad. Hey, OP. Didn't think you would call. What is it? Everything okay? Me. Hey, Dad. Yeah, I know. There's this crazy lady that wants to talk to you about how you let me live a sinful life. She still thinks I'm 15 too. Hey, crazy lady. Here. I turn my phone towards her so my dad can see her. Say hi, crazy. Dad, to me. Another one? This is why I told you to migrate someplace else. Less nut jobs. To entitled mom. Look here, miss. My daughter is a wonderful woman. She has a big heart for people who are in need, intelligent, and generally a good person. She is also a good mother to her son, despite being a first-time mom. Sure, she has flaws, but she's human after all. Also, she's an atheist, so save your attempts to preach for another person who actually believes in God. Take my advice and focus on yourself and let other people be. My daughter is not 15. She's in her early 20s. Now leave her and me alone. OP, I have to get ready for work now. Talk to you soon. Okay, Dad. I turn my phone towards my son who was watching his cartoons on his stroller. To my son. Baby, say bye-bye to Grandpa. My son looks up and waves his arm and laughs at the phone. My dad laughs, says goodbye once more, and hangs up. Me. So, we done here yet, lady? Entitled mom huffs and goes inside the Starbucks. I play it off and get back to what I was doing before. Not 5 minutes later, and she comes back with a manager in tow. Manager. Excuse me, ma'am, but this lady said you were being rude to her and that you called her crazy. Is that true? Was I rude to her? Not really. I only asked her to leave me alone after she kept on bothering me. Did I call her crazy? Sure thing. After she wouldn't leave me alone when I asked her to a couple of times. She's not even a customer here. She's part of that group over there. I point towards the preaching group, and she and her son have both bothered me since I got here. Is that true, entitled mom?
Well...
Other customer. Excuse me. I've heard their entire exchange. This woman has been bothering that girl and won't leave her alone. I can vouch for OP. Manager. Ma'am, please leave before I call the mall security. You and your group are not even allowed to do that here. If you bother any one of my customers again, I'll make sure to report your group so you can be banned from the mall. Entitled mom tries to say something, but just walks away. She and her group leave shortly. Manager. I am so sorry for that, ma'am. Can I get you anything else? No need. I'm just glad she is gone and that her stunt didn't bother my son. I am really very sorry for that. I'll give you and your son both free iced teas right away for your trouble. Manager leaves before I can stop him. He arrives a minute later and hands me 2 bottles of iced tea, and I thank him. I also thanked the older gentleman for his words. We actually had a good chat. He is a widower and often goes to coffee places because his wife used to love going on coffee dates once a week, and it serves as his reminder of her. My partner arrived 20 minutes later than I thought and told him the whole story. We laugh about it over our dinner. Next we've got Karen wants my trolley. This happened on a Saturday afternoon and had a proper Karen in the wild. As usual, a bit of pretext. While I have a collection of vastly differing skills, my main occupation has me on construction sites. Sites are inherently dangerous places, and every few years one finds oneself in a crumpled heap a few meters below where they were moments previously. Such an occasion occurred to me on Thursday due to an old ladder rung going for early retirement while I was resting my entire weight on it. Suffice to say, I gave myself a proper spannering, dislocating and hyperextending my shoulder, giving my opposite knee a good twist and a decent bruising to match my ego. Friday and the first half of Saturday was spent in a drug-induced haze, with heat packs, hot baths, and enough cursing to make a sailor blush. Late Saturday, my shoulder was still entirely useless, but I was starting to get mobility back into my knee, enough that I felt able to head to the local sheep value store. This particular store has a very limited amount of parking at ground level, but a decent amount at rooftop, with 2 lifts down into the front of the store. Trolleys are often in short supply in the store, so I grabbed one up at rooftop where they're in plenty, both to make sure I had one and to act as a bit of support to my ailing knee and shoulder. Get into the lift. Hold the door. Oh, door! For a lady hurrying to make it. Down we go. As the doors open, I let the lady go first due to my busted hobbling, and I've barely cleared the lift when a wild Karen grabs the front of my trolley and exclaims, "About time! You people should do a better job restocking trolleys." Her condescending expression gathering a hint of confusion about the eyes, much like storm clouds gathering when I don't immediately let go of the trolley. Now, I'm not a small guy. I'm 105 kilograms and 6'2", heavily bearded. I'm wearing jeans, sneakers, and a pale blue t-shirt with a girl kneeling in prayer and text that says, "May they all burn in heck." Fairly distinctly removed from the staff uniform of green vest, light gray shirt, and dark gray trousers. I'm pretty easygoing, but being in pain and low on sleep means I've been getting out of the wrong side of bed 2 nights in a row, and I have no patience for Karen's crap. There are plenty up in the car park. Feel free to go fetch one. Karen's eyes nearly bug out of her head, and she jerks on the trolley while inhaling sharply to feed me some line about her privilege, no doubt. But she doesn't get the chance because her jerk on the trolley had sent a jolt of pain straight up my arm, and my knee was halfway giving out. This presented via a loud grunt from me, followed by an angry and not particularly quiet, "Goodness sake, lady, take a look at me and tell me what part of what you see leads you to believe I work here." She didn't immediately let go, but just stood there, mouth agape and slack, eyes trying to find something to make sense of what I just said. I still had one good arm and one good leg. Turns out that was more than enough to push free of Karen's death grip and hobble off. Felt like saying more to her as I passed regarding her "you people" comment, but couldn't think of anything witty at the time. Saw her pointing me out to a staff member when I was checking out. I pointed to a staff member nearby and mouthed, "Staff," while nodding my head. Pointed to myself and mouthed, "Not staff," while shaking my head. Put my bags in my trolley and hobbled back to the lifts. Next we've got, "I don't work for this airport." So this happened recently while I was at JFK. Me and a few of my childhood friends have been planning on going on a 2-week trip to Europe for years. We hadn't actually gone because until recently, most of them were in college and I was working full-time. I am actually a pilot, which was part of the problem. So this was our first big opportunity. I'll go ahead and set up the cast. We've got me, we've got security officer, we've got Karen, and I'll call her Mary, Karen's really embarrassed daughter. So at first, it was a fairly normal trip to the airport. For me, airports aren't stressful, as I generally have the run of the place, mostly due to my known crew badge with my picture and the airline I work for that lets me pass TSA with some ease and go to the pilot areas. So while my friends are waiting in line, I walk over to the side and show my badge to the TSA guy with the wand, and he begins scanning me. I actually get through without much issue and turn to wait for my friends. That's when I see Karen staring directly at me. We make eye contact and she waves me over. Now she is in the TSA line, not far enough along to take her shoes off. Now I can't walk up behind TSA, and I didn't want to go back through TSA, so I shake my head, not wanting to call out to her. I can see her face getting red. Now I'll say, I don't look close to an employee. I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt, quite literally a Lipton shirt, and aside from my badge and my travel bag, I look nothing like a pilot, and I'm only an FO. Seeing my non-compliance, she immediately starts to shout.
What do you mean no? You can't say no to me.
At this point, the TSA officer who had wanded me over walks over to her, asking her to calm down. She just kept shouting.
Don't you tell me to do anything. My son is a platinum flyer, and he got me my tickets. You need to do what I say.
While I stand there, confused, the TSA officer asks her to step out of line, and she pulls poor Mary along with her. Karen looked as if she had won a great victory and begins striking past the TSA officer towards me. The officer stops her and she turns on him.
Oh, so you're playing favorites now? You'll let some employee walk through like he owns the place and step on customers, but not a platinum flyer?
The officer already fed up, and I can't blame him. But he waves me over with a sad expression as he explains, "Look, he's a crewman. He flies for one of our airlines. That's why he gets to go past." I held up my badge for her to see it. Karen, looking at me with her platinum hair fury.
So, you do work here and still trying to ignore me. I'll make sure you lose your job and your license for this.
Me, what the?
I don't want to hear a word from you if it's not the name of your supervisor.
I don't work here. I fly here. Airline. And I am on vacation.
You just admitted you work here, and yet you still ignored me.
Luckily for me, Mary was starting to get fed up with her mother and tried to cut in. Karen ignored her, yelling about her son and how he would get me fired and her privilege as a platinum flyer. At this point, I really hadn't gotten in much of a word, but I didn't really need to because Mary finally got a word in on her mother's mindless rant. Mary, you need to stop. Mom, we're going to get in line quietly and wait our turn. Otherwise, I've had enough and I will simply leave you behind. This shut her up, and I took my opportunity to walk away as fast as I could. Next we've got,
can I get cash back?
So, I am a customer service manager at a grocery chain store. I was getting ready to leave for the day, but still needed to help a cashier print something out. So I was waiting for her at the service desk, located right outside the office we needed to be in. The cast in this story is me. We've got cashier 1, cashier 2, my fellow manager, we've got customer, and customer's friend. While I'm waiting for cashier 1 to come up to the office, customer walks up to the desk, holding a pack of sunflower seeds.
Can I get cash back?
Yes, you can get cash back.
Can I just get $10?
No, 20 is the minimum.
I can't just get 10?
No, it won't give you the option for less than 20. But I can break down the 20 for you.
So I couldn't get just 10?
I can do an unload on your card, but that has a $3.74 fee on it.
I'll just do the 20.
Okay. I log into the register and scan her sunflower seeds. Then her friend comes up to her with a gallon of milk. Did you want to purchase this too? Gestures to the milk. Customer and customer's friend continue talking. Me. Did you want to purchase the milk too?
Not right now.
Okay, that'll be 52 cents.
That's 60.
Hands me 60 cents. Me, slightly confused. Cashes her out. 8 cents is your change.
Oh, I was gonna get cash back.
You have to use your card to get cash back.
Okay.
She walks away. By this point, my cashier had come up to the desk, so we go into the office to print out her papers. Then, cashier 2 calls me from the self-checkout. Hey, there's a customer out here that said she paid for her sunflower seeds at the desk. Me. Yes, she did. Okay. Cashier 2 hangs up, but then immediately calls me back. She said she's missing her cash back. Me. She has to use her card to get cash back. She paid cash, so she didn't get any. Cashier 2. Okay. I finish helping cashier 1 print her papers, so I come out of the office and walk up to the self-checkout podium where cashier 2 is standing with customer and customer service manager. CSM. Do you have a receipt? She said she doesn't have it. Yeah, I have it up there. I'll go get it. I walk back to the service desk and get her receipt out of the trash can. I turn and see that she had followed me, so I hand it to her. She then walks back to the self-checkout and speaks with CSM again. I walk back over because I can tell this isn't over. CSM. Can you give her a refund? She wants to refund it to buy it again for cash back. Me. Okay, but you have to use your card to get cash back. Customer.
Yeah, I was going to, but you just rang it up and did whatever you wanted.
And I'm just standing there, like, you gave me money to pay for your item. What did you expect me to do with that? If you hand me money, I'm going to tell the register that you gave me money, but I just tell her that I can refund her at the service desk. So we go up to the desk and I give her the 52 cents back. She takes the money and starts walking away. Me. Do you want to ring it up for cash back? Customer with an attitude.
I'm going to do it over here at self-checkout.
I just thought to myself that the self-checkout is only going to give you a 20 back, and we won't be able to break that down for you, but okay. I immediately clocked out and came home to rant to my roommates about her. I just don't understand where her confusion came from and how she was going to blame me for cashing her out when she gave me money. And shout out to our re-generals of the day, the Quiet Potato, Jacqueline, Teeth Rock, and Stormy. Become tomorrow's re-generals by leaving as many re's as you can in the comments below.